Hey everyone, do you have a little one that's suffering from colic? Do you have intense bouts of crying every day? Well, you're in the right place because today we're going to talk about colic and manual techniques that you can use to help your little one be more comfortable. Hey there everybody, I'm Dr. Sarah Mitchell. I'm the creator of the Helping Babies Sleep Method. I'm actually a chiropractor by training, but really found my passion empowering parents just like you to teach their little ones to sleep and to parent confidently day and night as a sleep consultant. Let's talk about colic. Colic by definition is more than 3 hours of crying per day for more than 3 days a week for more than 3 weeks. And if that's you, gosh, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a real burden on your family. That's a lot of crying. So in this video, we're going to talk about what can we do? Why does this happen to you and what can we do about it? So, the research is actually really scant on colic. They actually don't know what the root cause. There's many different theories about the root cause of colic, and we'll talk about those here real briefly. So one theory is that the baby's digestive system isn't really developed very well yet. And that's why they say that colic will eventually on its own disappear somewhere around 3 months and for sure by 6 months. But that's still a really long time to be enduring this, right? There's another theory that it's an imbalance of the bacteria that's living in the gut. So bad bacteria is outweighing the good bacteria. It could also be food sensitivities, not necessarily a true allergy, but some sort of sensitivity that's irritating them and making them uncomfortable. And there's some research to show that a cow's milk protein allergy is one of the causes that can mimic colic, but it has a true root cause. Okay. Then there's a theory that either overfeeding your kiddos or maybe even underfeeding them can cause all of this crying, as it is a cry for help, I'm uncomfortable or I'm hungry. And the other theory is that it's a dysregulated nervous system, that maybe you had some sort of birth trauma during delivery that has left them a little bit dysregulated. The other thing very few people talk about is the fact that being overtired can sometimes mimic colic. And I mention this because I had a student in my Helping Babies Sleep School who took my newborn class who said afterwards, I'm so grateful for the class and she's sleeping great now. And I actually realized, looking back, that I thought my first had colic, but now I realize she was probably overtired because I just kept her up so much. I didn't realize that I was supposed to be kind of watching the clock and knowing when to get them down. But the other thing is all those things can combine, right? Because if you have a really uncomfortable child who's having trouble sleeping, she will eventually get overtired, and then you have that compounding the entire effect. Some possible symptoms that can go along with the crying include passing a lot of gas or burping a lot. But this can actually be a chicken or the egg situation, because is your child colicky because they have GI issues? Or are they crying so much that they're actually swallowing air and that's creating the need to burp and the digestive issues? It's hard to say. Some of our kiddos also present with very bright red faces, almost like they're trying to bear down and push something out of their gut, essentially. They may, have clenched fists because they're uncomfortable. They may also curl their legs up over their belly to try and protect themselves, almost like that fetal position, to try and ease the discomfort. And many kids actually present with what we call a tight belly. So pushing on their abdomen is very rigid. You can't really get in there to massage it. So what can we do to help them? Well, first of all, I want you to know that kids who are uncomfortable, whether that's reflux, whether it's an injury, an illness, in general, they want to sleep on people. They seek the comfort and the soothing ability of a parent. They want to be close to you. And often, too, especially with kids with reflux, they're on an inclined position or somewhat upright, which helps the reflux. Okay? But they will want to be on you. And now is not the time to be working on gentle newborn sleep shaping. It's really a time to be helping them get through this discomfort. One tactic that you can use to help your little person at this stage is distraction. Can you distract them from what's distracting them? So can you put them in a baby swing, not to sleep, but to kind of sit there and see the world go by? This can be helpful for you too, to get them out of your arms if you're, holding them a lot because they're so uncomfortable. Can you sing to your baby? Can you rock to your baby? Can you walk around the house and look at different things? Again, can I distract them from what's distracting them? Can I go for a car ride, right? All those things can help. Then how can you help with the discomfort? So the first thing is really, can we identify what the root issue is? So if you're breastfeeding, is your latch letting extra air in that might be causing some discomfort? Is there a potential food sensitivity? So looking at your formula, is there a lot of dairy in that? Looking at your breastfeeding diet, do you have a lot of dairy? There could be other foods too, but those tend to be kind of one of the main ones that can be associated. Can you help them by lying them on their stomach, either on you or on your legs facing out, and rubbing their back? In general, kids with GI issues will want to sleep on their stomach. Think about yourself when you have a sore tummy. You kind of want a cocoon, right? You want to go into that fetal position, have more pressure on that positioning. So can you help them with that? Can you give them a warm bath? Because often when my stomach is upset, I want a heating pad or something on that. So can you offer that in addition? Also, let's talk about the manual techniques that we can use. So heat can be helpful. So there's a product here. This is called the Dr. Brown's Grape Belt. It looks like this, okay? And on the inside, you put this little heating pad. So you have to be very careful with this, right? Because when you microwave this, the heat might distribute unequally. So you have to make sure that it feels comfortable to touch. But can you put this on their tummy before you work on some tummy massage? It comes in this little belt, but again, this is not safe sleep, so you would have to be watching them when they have that. But heat can be very comfortable. One of the ways you know heat is working is often I'll see kids and they're kind of fidgety. Fidgety means usually uncomfortable or a dysregulated nervous system. And then we either burp them or do some tummy massage. If we get the gas out, you can see their body language relax. It's the same with this heating pad. Do you notice that you see some relaxation when you apply it? Okay, things you're looking for. First, we'll talk about burping. Okay, so the burping, I see a lot of people doing this, right? And what does this do? With an easy kiddo to burp, it may dislodge the bubble. But the whole purpose of burping is to dislodge that air bubble that got trapped. Okay, so I want you to think about padding to dislodge, but then I want you to think about like squeezing up to sweep that bubble out. Okay, my favorite type of burping technique is moving different positions, okay? So my favorite one is actually when they're on your lap in front of you, and this is a bit tricky here to do here, but flexing forward. So what people forget, you've got this esophagus or your food tube that comes down, and then you've got your stomach. The bubble is trapped in here somewhere. You need some counter pressure on this area to really get that bubble out if you have a tricky burper. Okay, so things I like to do, number one, so the heating pad can be helpful even for burps. And then number two is priming the pump. So just even repositioning your little one. Having them have flexion in their hips can be very helpful, okay? And then when they're in this position, now you would be doing this on your lap. I'm just doing this for camera purposes to help us here. But you want to have flexion, but also a little bit of extension. I'm exaggerating. Extension in the esophagus to help elongate that food tube to let the bubbles out. And you can do this with this hand by stabilizing and tilting them back just a little bit. And then pat, 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 and then I'm squeezing the bubbles up. And notice I'm using this hand to actually brace their chest and squeeze that up. Okay, it's the same premise when they're on your shoulder. So notice the difference between this position versus this position. It's very different because here I have their knees flexed to their chest. That's what I want to be doing. Flexing to the chest. I'm squeezing down, pat, 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 squeezing down. Okay, and don't underestimate the power of changing positions. Next, for tummy massage, I want you to think of this. Left lower quadrant trigger point, okay? So I'm going to put, so imagine that their GI tract, right, is an upside down U like this, and it's exiting on the left-hand side here, okay? So what I want to be doing is just gently massaging with 2 fingers. I'll hit the ribs. I'm going to come across, gently massaging. I'm trying to dislodge these bubbles that are in here. I'll hit the ribs on this side, and then I'm going to come down. The important part is here, left lower quadrant. You're going to roll off the hip, and there's a little spot in there. It's a trigger point, kind of a holding tank. And I'm flexing the leg because this will not work if your child is rigid. Okay, if their abdomens are rigid, they will not let you in. So you have to make sure, how can you do that? You can jiggle them, you can sing to them, you want to get them to be relaxed. You can use the heat, that can be really, really helpful. And then I'm getting in there and I'm doing a little bit of trigger point work, trying to get that gas out. Then there's something called the Windy, which is a little tube that you actually insert into the rectum to help elicit the ejection reflex, to get the body to get rid of that gas. So you prime the pump by doing all these things, and you can use the Windy to help get rid of that gas completely. So in summary, colic, 3 hours of crying a day or more than 3 days a week, more than 3 weeks, very painful. It could be some sort of GI issue, we're not really sure. It can also be mimicking with overtiredness, which could be compounding the problem. You can use manual techniques like burping and tummy massage to help alleviate those things. Okay. If you're looking for more sleep tips, we have a simple 6-question sleep quiz that you can take for babies about 4 weeks to 2 years. I'll put the link down below. And don't forget to hit subscribe to never miss a baby sleep trip. Have a great day.